Hello friends, this is Farhan and you're watching Engineering Concept. Our today's topic is load calculation. So, in this topic, I am going to explain you what is load calculation, what are the types of load calculation, and what are the softwares which is used for the load calculation. Then we will see who will perform the load calculation and at what stage of the project this load calculation is being done. So after that we will see what are the parameters required to start the load calculation. Then we will do the load calculation with the help of an excel sheet, that is E20. Then I will do it with the help of Hvac software. So stay tuned and let's start. So first of all, what is load calculation? So as we see an example in the screen, uh, there is a room and there is the in this room the heat is generated through external sources and through internal sources. The external sources, we can see the radiation coming from the sun and the infiltration, and the internal sources we have heat gain through lighting, heat gain through people, heat gain through equipments, heat gain through partition, and we can also assume heat gain through kitchen appliances if there is a kitchen appliance. So all this heat generated, we can call it as a load on the space. That is why it is called as load calculation, because we are performing the calculation in order to minimize this load. So that is why it is called as load calculation. So we have two types of load calculation: cooling load calculation and heating load calculation. Cooling load calculation is required to perform to select an air conditioning system, and heating load calculation is required to perform a heating system, or both together we can perform to get a package heating and cooling system, like we have the VRF system. So what is cooling load? Why it is called cooling and heating load? So, as we know, the heat gained through different sources in the space became space load, and this space load will be minimized by the air conditioning or heating system, and that space load will fall on the heating or cooling coil, and we are sizing the heating and cooling coil in order to minimize the space load. So we can say the space load is directly on the heating or cooling coil. So that is the reason we call it as cooling load and heating load, because we are sizing the air conditioning system, that is nothing but the cooling coil. Inside the air conditioning system there is a cooling coil. The larger the space load, the larger will be the cooling coil. Hope you have understood why we are calling it cooling load calculation and heating load calculation. In cooling load calculation, we have cooling and dehumidification process, cooling and humidification process. So let us start with two parameters. As we know before, cooling load are of two types, that is sensible and latent. So what is sensible load and what is latent load? Sensible load or sensible heat is the heat which gain through the sensible heat is the heat that occurs due to which there is a change in temperature. For example, we have the heat gain through external sources, and that causes the change in temperature because of the heat transfer. So we can say that sensible load is the load that causes the change in temperature without changing its phase. Here the only the temperature is changing. The heat is transferred and the temperature inside the room become hot, that is increased. And similarly, we have latent load. Latent load is the load that causes the change in the phase of the air without changing its temperature. So we have here different latent loads, like we have heat gain through equipment, heat gain through people, that releases the moist air in the air. And so here we are gaining the external load and internal load. Now the same external and internal load is lost when the air or the space load is passed through the evaporator coil. You see here, there is an evaporator coil. When the air is made to pass through this evaporator coil, then again here we have change in temperature. Here change in temperature, that is increase in temperature, but here when the air is passed, that is decrease in temperature. So increase and decrease in temperature, uh, that is nothing but the latent heat gain and latent heat loss. So here the first thing, cooling is understood that when there is a change in temperature, whether it is heating and whether it is cooling, that is nothing but sensible heat gain or sensible heat loss. So when there is a sensible heat loss, it is nothing but cooling process. And dehumidification, that when in the space there will be humid air. When this humid air is passed through the evaporator coil at dew point temperature, we know that when the air is passed through the cooling coil or evaporator coil at dew point temperature, the air begins to condensate. That is nothing but the air is leaving its moisture. Now, when the air is leaving its moisture, that is called loss of latent heat. So here we are gaining the latent heat, and when it is passed through the evaporator coil or cooling coil, it is losing its latent heat. So that process is nothing but dehumidification. So hope you have understood what is cooling and dehumidification process. Next we have cooling and humidification. Cooling and humidification process is the most commonly used air conditioning application for the cooling purpose. In this process, the moisture the moisture is added to the air by passing it over the stream of spray of water, which is at temperature lower than the dry bulb temperature of the air. As you know, when the ordinary air passes over the stream of water, the particles of water present in the stream tends to get evaporated by giving up the heat to the stream. The evaporated water is absorbed by the air, so its moisture content, thus the humidity also increases. At the same time, since the temperature of the absorbed moisture is less than the dry bulb temperature of the air, there is a reduction in the overall temperature of the air also. Since the heat is released in the stream of or spray of water, its temperature increases. One of the most popular application of cooling and humidification is a cool evaporative cooler, or also we can say it desert cooler. In this, what happens? A big box inside which a small pump, water tank, a small water pump, and the fan is there. The water from the tank is circulated by the pump and is also sprayed inside the box. The fan blows strong currents of air over the water space, thus the cooling the air and the humidifying is also done. The evaporative cooler is highly effective cooling device, having low initial and running cost compared to air conditioning system. So here the process is cooling and humidification. Now similarly we have both heating and dehumidification, that is same as the air conditioning, only the heater will be used in the place of air conditioning system. when there is a load, that is cold air inside the room in winters, this space load is passed through the, now here it is passed through the condenser coil, and that load that increases the temperature of the air. So there is a heating process, that is nothing but sensible heat, that it's gaining the sensible heat from the cooling coil. Now dehumidification is same. When the air is passed through this condenser coil, the moisture is removed from the air, and this process is obtained by passing the air over certain chemicals like alumina and molecular sieves. These elements have inherent properties due to which they keep on releasing the heat and also have the tendency to absorb the moisture. And we know that these are called the hygroscopic chemicals. So this is about the heating and dehumidification process. Similarly, we have heating and dehumidification when we are in winter and the atmosphere is dry and we need to add the moisture in the air, then we perform this humidification process. That is also done with the help of desert cooler, or with the help of evaporative cooler, where the air is made to pass through the water and the temperature of the water is less than the temperature of the atmosphere. So these are the processes which are used in the air conditioning and heating system. So similarly, we have softwares that perform this load calculation based on the same concept. So what are the softwares we have? We have the Hvac softwares in the market. We have Elite software, and some companies perform, some consultant perform the calculation on the Excel sheet, that is nothing but E20 Excel sheet. So we will see all of these softwares. We will see the E20 sheet, we will see the Hvac software, and I will do the load calculation on that in the future videos. Okay, so let's see who will perform the load calculation. This load calculation will be performed by the designers. So when the owner wants to make a building, so he will go to the architect, or he will go to the consultant who has the architect, and different consultants like civil consultants, MAP consultants. In MAP consultants, they have the HVAC designer, they have the plumbing and firefighting and electrical designers. So the owner will tell that I want to make this building like this, like this, like this. So based on his requirement, the design will be made. And in some companies, in some consultants, they don't have more designer, and suppose they have a big project and they have a very less time to complete it. So what they will do, they will hire the designer from the market, like as a company, and they will give the design work to the company in order to complete this in a very short time. And these designers will design, and then the final approval will be given by the consultant. Here in the consultant, there will be the senior engineer who will approve all the design by coordinating with the owner. So like this, the design will be done, and the designer will perform the design of the structural design, or it may be HVAC and any kind of MAP design. So at what stage of project it will be done? So the project stage is the first stage of the project, when this design work is being done. After the project design is completed, this design will issue for the tenders to the contractors. Then different contractors give their quotation in the form of prices. They will quote the prices, and whoever quote the less price and whoever has the good name in the market, the project will be awarded to that contractor, and then the project execution state will be started. So the design will be done in the first stage. Before starting the estimation, before starting the project execution work, the design was done. And in the project execution stage, some the drawings will be modified. That is nothing but we make the shop drawings, we make the coordination drawings and builders work drawing. That is all based upon the design drawing only. So hope you have understand this topic. So in the next video I will explain you about uh, the parameters which are required to start the load calculation, and that is nothing but we call it building survey. In the building survey we will see architecture layout. I will show the architecture layout which I have worked in a project in Abu Dhabi. So based on that architecture layout, I will show you how to read the architectural layout and how to extract the data from the architectural layout so that we can feed in the heat load calculation. Then I will explain what is psychrometric conditions, what are the parameters in psychrometric conditions, and we have then latitude, longitude, what is the purpose of this, and the most important U value. I will explain what is U value, from where we will get the U value, and how we can calculate the U value. I will explain all these things one by one in my future videos. So stay tuned and like and share my videos so that I can make it. Thanks.